Welcome, everybody, to Ladies Night Live. Here we are. Me, Little Miss Prepper, and Yoda from Grumpy Acres Farm.
Hello, hello.
So tonight we're playing WROL. We're going to try to keep it up on Monday nights.
Yeah. Might talk a little bit. How many people do you see that we have in? Can you see that yet?
3.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit and get started. So we've got, there we go. Yeah. And so we've got rain. I'll just let everybody know now we've already lost power. So as long as we have power on the computer, we'll keep going. If we get dark, I got plenty of oil lamps and that kind of thing. So I'll still be able to see, but no power on the computer, that might be a problem. So we'll see what happens. But so today, rainy day, so everything got done inside. We think we solved the problem with the freeze dryer, with the large one. And so that's a good thing. G found there's a new firmware file that he found. So if anybody's having problems with your racks heating up and that kind of thing, that you will need to upload that into your freeze dryer. So so far so good. We'll see what happens. But hey, Dusty Country Rose, Tambra, hello. Count Trumpula, hello.
I like that name. That's funny.
Oh, man. Oh, those crazy libs. Are you seeing what's going on? Are you hearing any of that? Man. Senator Mullen got on. I was listening. Usually I never listen to it. Meet the Press. And here I am literally sitting. Grab that silent fit. Let me turn that off. Unless it's an emergency. Yeah, I want it. So can you come over and take this over?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Surviving Behind Liberal Lines.
And so anyway, I told you about that interview. Why don't you take that for me?
Oh, well, he did who Mullen? Yeah, he did a great job. I was talking, we were talking about him earlier. We also were talking about the crazy one from North Carolina who got up and suggested they have an entire shadow cabinet.
Oh.
And not only that, he named off the people who were going to fulfill each position that would be in opposition to Trump's cabinet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's going to come back and fill you back in on that one. I was like, what? Well, they say England does that. Well, this ain't England, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My son is a police detective, and so when he calls, we answer.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. But anyway, so this was good news, but he didn't tell me because I couldn't hear him. So I'll call him after we're done here. Hey, Rabbit.
And thank you so much, Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. Thank you so much. And you also have a very good evening.
Yeah. Yep. No, I thought it was very interesting. I never listened to Meet the Press, and Senator Mullen was on there. And so they're interviewing him and asking questions and that kind of thing, and go straight into him defending Kennedy on anti-vaccine. And he said, now, wait a minute. He said, does he believe in vaccinations and his family taking them? No. He said, however, what he's trying to push and what he's trying to let you know is what these vaccines do, what the side effects are, what they really are, and he wants you informed on what you're doing. And he broke it down. I love the way he broke it down. I really want to find a piece of this video because of this interview, because I'd like to do a video on it. But he broke it down. He said, let's go back to the 1970s. Autism was 1 in 5,000. Then he said you got to the 1980s. Autism was 1 in 4. And then next one was 1 in 3,000. Next one was 1 in 2,000. And now by the age of 3, now where we're at, autism is at somewhere, I think he said like 35%, 35 in 1,000. Something like that. But 35% of the kids by the time they're 3 have autism. So he was trying to break all that down. Oh my, you should have heard the fit that was thrown. She's trying to stop him. He's not letting her stop him. He talked over her. He's like, now listen up here. Then they started talking about attorney general picks and all these other picks for the administration. And they're like picking them apart and saying, you know, how they're bad and they're this and they're that. And he said, now come on. He said, when Biden picked his administration and started putting in whatever its pronouns are, and he said it that way, whatever its pronouns are, him, her, and that kind of thing. He said nobody was tearing that apart and trying to walk into that. And she's, well, that's not true. That's not true. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And he said, no, you did not. And he literally stopped her in her tracks. And finally they were like, well, our interview time is over. So I'm like, woo, there's some things coming down the road. We'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. Thanks, Tiger. I know my math, but anyway. So yeah, it's pretty bad and it's high right now. So, and if you think about it and you look at it and we all look at our grandchildren and our neighbors' kids and that kind of thing, I can completely see where it would be 35%. So yeah. I can completely, how about you as a nurse? Can you say that?
Absolutely. They're talking about, and I think by 2030, it could be as high as 1 in 5 kids.
Wow, that's crazy.
Autism. I believe that's what I heard, 1 in 5.
Yeah, if it's not that now.
That would be 20.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to any kindergarten teacher to find out.
Holy cow.
They tell you how many they got in the classroom. So
they would probably say all 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Thursday, after you told me about that
DMSO.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. That stuff. I told my boss the next day because she has pains and stuff like that. After I told her about it Friday morning, she had a customer that's almost a longtime friend come over and tell her about the same thing. I'm awesome. Like, oh my goodness, that is so funny how things work like that.
Yeah. In fact, I called my dad and I said, hey, this is a game changer. You got to get it. And he called me and finally, and said, he said, well, I don't know. What is this? And, we looked at it. It says it can interfere with your medication and that kind of thing. And I was like, Dad, I said, that's if you're taking it orally. Talk to your doctor about it. He's like, well, I have a physical therapy appointment tomorrow. He said, I'll go talk to him and see what they say. And he asked her about it. And he said, well, he goes, I talked to my daughter. So after this, I'm getting ready to go get horse ligament ointment. And she looked at him and without a blink. And she goes, yeah, a lot of my patients do that. And he said, and she said, it really works and it does great. And he goes, how come you never told me about this? And she said, because by law, I can't. And she said, but now that you've brought it up to me, it works fantastic. So my dad, afterwards, he was having a hard time getting out of the car and he has a hard time sitting and because the pain and all of that. He's had knee surgery and pinched a sciatic nerve and that kind of thing. And so he says, Ashton, no. So everybody thinks we are though. So I get it. You funny turd. You know that.
Hey, Tiger, I agree.
But so he called me 15 minutes after he put it on and he said, guess what? He said, I got it. I put the DMSO on. He said, learned a little bit. If you lather it too thick, you're going to itch. He said, but when I got it about right, he said it was fine. And he said, and guess where I'm calling you from? And I said, where are you calling me from? He says, I'm sitting in my recliner. And I was like, whoa, because he's been walking around and not sitting. And so I was like, fantastic, fantastic. So he said immediately he felt a lot of the sharp pain coming off of his back. It's not completely gone after 15 minutes, but he did feel a huge relief. So now we are not doctors. We are not medical advisors. We are not any of that. Do your own research and you all decide what you want to do.
Yep.
So that's so YouTube. There you go.
But I did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express the other night. The commercial.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready to get started with WROL? Looks like
I wanted to say something to Tiger, because she was talking about she thinks there's a lot of whining. Go back to her comment.
What'd
You have
she
to
say?
scroll back up.
I know how you
A lot of whining from the teachers because of these active children, and they just want to medicate all of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially a child to sit still for multiple hours at a time. Yeah.
Because the thing is now, you know how we used to get multiple recesses and breaks and lengthy ones. They don't get those.
Well, because it used to be schools got X amount of money, and now they get it per hour that they have to have so many hours, and they have to get all those hours in. So that's why when you have over a certain amount of snow days, they extend the school year now. You wouldn't know that in Louisiana. But
no, it's hurricane days in
It's
Louisiana.
hurricane days.
Yeah, you get in Florida too.
Yeah.
So because they schedule in. So if you don't have a big hurricane season, like one year, my grandkids got out in the middle of May because they didn't use any of the hurricane days, and I have gotten them out the second and third week of June when it's been a bad hurricane season. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. You're what?
Hey, Tambra.
Your haul looked awesome. I'm gonna have to go look at that and see.
Your what?
Jen's haul looked awesome. See, I miss a lot of videos because I've been so busy messing with freeze dryers and food and trying to keep people fed and washing dishes and sweeping floors and trying to keep mud off my floors and trying to keep.
Don't look
it's
at
not
me.
just you.
It's not just me.
No, but
and also Jen is harvesting her first deer and processing it today.
Awesome.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Tambra, don't get any ideas. He's married and has given me 2 beautiful grandbabies. And he even said if Skanes is here for Thanksgiving, she needs to know to keep her hands off of him.
And keep your hands to yourself. Yeah. Because he's a what?
He's a, how do you put it? A hot, sexy man. Beast. Hot, sexy beast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, I don't know how he can look in a mirror at himself every day. So anyway, all right, y'all ready to get started?
So I just did my first here.
All right. So we are going to go to New American Civil War just because I find it appropriate with everything that's going on right now.
Here.
So in the midst of a new American Civil War on February 16th, 2026, you were a soldier stationed near Richmond, Virginia. Your unit is tasked with capturing an enemy stronghold. However, you discover that the stronghold is being used as a shelter for civilians who were caught in the crossfire. Would you follow orders and capture the stronghold, potentially harming innocents, and disobey orders and try to protect the civilians, risking being jailed by the army or worse? What would your main goal? What would be your main goal after this decision? You want to read it? You're right here.
Oh, I know what I do.
Well, say it.
I would not be capturing an enemy stronghold, that's for sure.
Well, you have to. Those were your orders.
Yeah, well, not when it comes to civilians.
So your unit is tasked by capturing an enemy stronghold. However, you discover the enemy stronghold, that is who they're.
This is Civil War, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it just like, let's go back to the last Civil War. You had the Bushwhackers and the Jayhawkers. Right. So they weren't necessarily in the military either. I know a lot of the Bushwhackers weren't. A lot of the Jayhawkers weren't.
I guess it would depend on which side I'm on. I would have to.
It would depend on what side you're on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now let's play devil's advocate here. Who's to say? So they've sheltered all these quote unquote civilians down in there.
Right.
How do you know they're not being programmed? Because that happened between the Bushwhackers and the Jayhawkers.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So I don't. What's your opinion, Little Miss Prepper?
I mean, I'm kind of like the same thing. It depends on what I wouldn't. Like even Tiger said, I'm safeguarding the civilians.
Mm-hmm.
You almost do want to do that, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and I agree with Rabbit here. So stronghold gets taken and prisoners will be taken too.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. If that's what was going to happen, if they weren't going to walk in there and annihilate everybody.
They didn't tell you to annihilate anybody.
Okay. Then yeah, because the other thing is you have to, while you don't want to do anything, because when it comes down at the end of the day, these are also your fellow Americans. You're just on the opposite side,
Are you bringing your liberal shit into
I'm
this
bringing
game?
my liberal shit in here.
You know what? You need a glass of wine, because this is when we're going to turn you into a mama bear by the end of this game. Guys, this is how it works. So you get a lot of people, and not necessarily, she's not a liberal, but you may have some liberal tendencies that come in, right? And so those kind of come into the game, but it's real interesting. You get somebody through a bottle of wine, a couple ladies that are thinking the same thing. By the end of the game, they're talking just like you, and sometimes worse. You're like, whoa, slow down.
Well, no,
they're ready to kill everybody.
I mean, take the stronghold. It's like, it didn't say, when you first read that, I thought it was talking about and going there and just taking it and, don't worry about casualties.
No, it says it specifically says capturing. You're going to have casualties no matter what. That period, you're going to have. Well,
yeah, you are.
But there is a bunker. Let's call it a bunker, right? There's a bunker that is a safe hold for civilians, keeping them safe from crossfire and that kind of thing. So they're not going to get injured. But you do have to take them with you.
Well, you got to think about it too, because they're being protected by the enemy. Are they with them, or are they actually being held there?
How long have they been held there?
Right.
How long have they been held there? What's the programming that's gone into that?
Right.
What is, how bad have they told them that our side is?
It could be a setup.
Let's see. So, so kind of like that. Yeah. Liberal SHIT. Yeah. She needs a shot or a kicker in the rear end.
Rum, what are you talking about? I need tequila. That is my drink of choice.
Oh gosh. Tiger says, I didn't say don't take the stronghold, but protect the civilians. Okay, I must have read that incorrectly then. Sorry about that. That happens. All right.
And that's actually what I meant. I just,
see, give them a drink and everybody changes their story.
Lose your emotions with dealing with this type of situation.
Yeah, I think it's difficult though for people to do that haven't been in the military,
and
so or in that or even in war, and so sometimes you do. Hey, blue butterfly, lurkers. We love lurkers. So, but so okay, let's go on to the next one. Let's do a bank run. Yeah. All right. On September 12th, 2032 in St. Louis, Missouri, a bank run has led to the closure of many small businesses, including the factory you work at. You have a job offer in another city, but moving would mean leaving behind your support network and starting over in an unfamiliar place. Why? Oh my God. It must be the day for me to share. Support network and starting over in an unfamiliar place in the middle of an economic depression. Do you move to the new city, or do you prioritize staying in your community? I'm going to let you guys take that first, and then I will go over actual experience and what we went through.
Well, I don't know. That one is kind of hard because, you do have that good set of community. And then I would probably try to stay in my community and see about working somewhere else.
Okay.
Maybe change banks. Is it banks that you're working at?
Yeah, this is a bank run, but your factory. So this is an economic collapse. You're working in a factory, small businesses everywhere being shut down. Your factory is one of them.
Oh. But then also, if you don't mind doing a commute, maybe you can make some more money next city over, but just do the commute.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to lose your community. And then maybe while you're at the other business in another state, maybe, or city, maybe you can start getting your own community by just your fellow coworkers.
Just figuring out who's that. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you get your maybe fellow coworkers and maybe start your own little community and then move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you?
Well, having to move and start over, I do know something about. But
Sure.
moving somewhere where it's talking about you have no one.
No, unfamiliar territory. It's just unfamiliar town. So, leaving behind your support network and starting over in an unfamiliar place.
Which means you don't know nobody.
That's not true. That's not true. It
Well,
means you not necessarily.
It doesn't designate how far you're moving.
It doesn't say how far you're
You guys
moving.
sound like robots.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say how far you're moving. So take that anyway. So, but keep going. So you think unfamiliar that you don't know anybody?
That's what I would think.
Maybe you should have built community beforehand. Maybe you should have been involved with everybody from all over the nation and met people.
Oh, Jen even
Devil's-
said, yeah.
Devil's
okay.
advocate.
Well, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Jen says, tough question for sure. You got your pros and your cons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stay with no work, no job.
Yep.
Maybe be a burden to your community, or move on, take your community values with you, maybe start a new community.
Mm-hmm. You want me to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So back in 2020, let's go back to when the whole pandemic and all that garbage started, and the government was forced to take backs if they wanted their job. This is what they were saying. A lot of people had to do it. It was coming down, including contractors and all of that. My husband worked for DOD, and we had to make a decision. I get it. Okay. And times were not as tight as an economic collapse, but it literally affected our family in its own similar way, if that makes sense. So we had made a decision, and we sold everything. We decided we were moving. A lot of the people that we had hung out with that were like-minded, we had been trying to say and convince everybody, let's start a community. Let's start doing things together. Let's XYZ, why aren't we doing this, and that kind of thing. Luckily, we had been involved with a lot of people from all over. Anytime that we do the preparedness campouts and that kind of thing. So we had been meeting people and doing all of that. And so we were like, man, where's our best support system? What do we have? And, put in some pre-thought into it. And we did not want to leave our friends. We did not want to leave our neighbors and that kind of thing. We didn't want that. But what we found in coming here, and even though it was only 5 families at the time, what we found coming here was that we at least had somebody that if I needed to cry, I had a shoulder to cry on. We had somebody, if we had a question about building, we could get that answered. You know what I'm saying? And so we had that. Were we familiar with Kansas? No. I could tell you where Nebraska Furniture Mall was, and I could tell you, but that's all on the Kansas City side. And I could tell you where the outlet malls were. That's what I knew about Kansas. Never, ever been at Northeast Kansas except for driving through and that kind of thing. And so we just decided we were going to go ahead and start building a bug out, because that would be one option that we have. And so we talked to a friend, Tag and B, and we said, hey, here's what do you think about this? Here's what we suggest and that kind of thing. And we started building a cabin over there. The cabin we were building, I don't know if you knew this or not, that pad that's right next to the community building, that's our pad. And so, we had agreement, basically whatever we did permanent stayed, and that went to the community. So any concrete pads, plumbing lines, that kind of thing, we didn't take those with us. That all stayed. And then, hey, Devil Dog. And so then we got through all of that, and then we decided we had a few meetings because we were trying to figure out how to make this work with the community, et cetera. Totally different details. In fact, our community is just now starting to go through that again with way more people. I've already seen it, so we'll see what happens. Won't know till next month. And then let's see. So then we made that move, sold everything, made the move. All of a sudden we started hearing everybody that was hanging out with us. Why are you moving? Are you crazy? What are you doing? You have a community here. You have all that. Did I really have a community? because when things got hard and we had a hard decision and you had a hard decision, you all caved in and you got manipulated and you did what we're standing up and refusing to do. So we moved here and more of our people in our community said, hell no, I'm not taking that. This is not happening. Garen, so here's where we started. Garen was going to go ahead and commute, see how long he could hold on to that job. When we decided that we were just going to put everything over in God's hands, we were going to pray on the whole situation. We were going to try to figure out and hope that we were followed. We had our house listed. He had a new job. And we had a house under contract that we were buying, and the house we were selling was all under contract, all within 1 week. So, yeah, all within 1 week. And so we got here, took a 65% pay cut. So we had our own family economic collapse. It can be done. You just need to figure out how to buckle down. You need to find a plan, and I'm not trying to make you cry. You just got to find a plan. You got to focus, and you move. And even there's somebody next door to you, I guarantee you, wherever you're moving, that has been through the same thing. And if you need to cry, I bet you go knock on the door and say, "Can I cry on your shoulder?" They may go, "I don't know who you are, but here's my shoulder." But staying in St. Louis, this is happening in St. Louis, staying in St. Louis during that time, it's dangerous anyway. I'd be trying to figure out how to get the hell out of there as fast as I could.
Yeah.
You're going to have the entire damn town come taking everything you got. And they won't care. Look what they did in Ferguson. And that wasn't even over that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Yeah, Rabbit, those winds are coming in. Yeah, we've got them here, getting cold. All right, so that's me. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So you can, try to break it down real fast. So, yeah, it could be done. Lucy, did you hear the question when you came in? Or
no.
You didn't hear the question?
No, because I was on my internet and it started wherever you guys were all echoing. So what I did was, because I'm on my phone, I took off Wi-Fi and everything. And so I'm just on my data and you guys are clear as anything.
Okay, well, do you want to know the question or do you want me to just keep going?
Just keep going.
Okay, all right. So,
I don't like to talk about the time at the beginning of when COVID hit, because we lost our house and 4 days later COVID hit. We were staying at my daughter's. We had no place to live on the property except till we cleaned out the 10 by 10 cabin. And then 2 weeks later, my husband's brother that he was very close to was up this way visiting, and he was killed in a truck accident.
Yeah.
So that's a really real bad time for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just move on. We'll go to government. On July 26, 2032, in the desolate landscape of Detroit, Michigan, the government has implemented a policy requiring citizens to report any friends or family members who express dissenting opinions. Your child's best friend has confirmed to you their doubts about the government's actions. Do you report the friend to the authorities, knowing that it will be likely lead to their imprisonment and damage your child's relationship? Or do you choose to protect the friend and risk your own family safety by not complying with the policy?
Oh, God.
I seen that look on your face, Skins.
Mm-hmm. I know what I'd do.
What would you do?
I wouldn't be turning anybody in. I know that.
Okay. How about you, Terminator?
Nope, I wouldn't either. You know what? I don't follow half the damn policies for the government anyway, so.
Okay, that's what I keep trying to do.
I just do my own thing on my own land. I just do it as I go.
Yeah, I'm with you. How about you, Little Miss Pepper?
Same thing. It's like, especially at certain governments anyways. I mean, why are probably right there with them.
Why trust the government? They've lied so many times. Why trust the government in anything?
Yeah. And so I'm going to tell you, it doesn't say what the age of the child is and that kind of thing. Let's assume that it's conservative at this point in the government, and you have a child that is going, let's just put it this way, lives in a liberal city. They live in St. Louis or Topeka, and they go to school there. obviously those teachers are going to be teaching that liberal garbage, and they're going to be whispering in the kids' ears and turning them and doing all of that. They're already doing it. We're seeing it now. And so then that child is being influenced by an outside factor. Doesn't necessarily mean that their parents are doing the same thing. But when you see people, oh, this makes my blood boil. When you see teachers teaching the first through, it was kindergarten, through third grade, the protest song for Free Palestine, and this did happen, it's been on the news, and that child then starts doing that, how do you put a kindergartner, a first grader, a second grader, and third grader in prison and hold them accountable? I think what I would do is I would talk to the parents and say, hey, here's what happened. And if they're okay with it, go, okay, well, now I know you're on my checklist. Got it. Red flag. And then you just keep them away. And then I would tell my kid flat out, you can't play with them anymore. And so, I don't want this for you. Here's what's going to happen and that kind of thing. And then do that. Of course, I wouldn't go into all of the details. I wouldn't push my opinion on my child, but I would definitely let them know why it's not okay. Because here's the thing too, if that child's friend does not think the way that our family thinks, I'm going to be battling my child in the future, and I don't want that. So I think there's several factors to take in here. However, I just don't think that a kid in prison over that is ideal.
Yeah.
So
my third daughter. Yeah, my third daughter's grade. My third daughter, she's a grade 2, grade 3 teacher. And she talks to me sometimes about the school curriculum and everything, and for here. And some of it she doesn't follow. She puts in the old ways. She adds in some of the old ways for teaching.
Mm-hmm.
She really fights against it.
Mm-hmm.
It really, she's to the point that she wished she never became a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because of what they want them to teach the kids, and she's against a lot of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the teachers union here in the States, evil.
Yeah, we're actually talking about a friend of ours, Cowboy. He goes to a local church, and we were talking to him because we did some investigating on the pastor and what he's like and all of that. He's actually a professor, and he taught at a Christian college, and he left because of all the liberal and politics and everything that was being spread through. And he's like, I'm not teaching this. And he actually left and then just became a pastor, because he was before he became a professor at that particular college, he was a chaplain in the Army. So he's like, I'm not doing it. So now he's a pastor and starting churches everywhere. So he's doing really good. Okay, so the next one we'll go to is natural and man-made disasters. On May 22nd, 2031 in Springfield, Missouri, a powerful tornado has destroyed a significant portion of the town. Your close friend's family is missing, and your friend is injured and unable to search for them. Helping your friend could put you at risk of injury or worse, and leave your own family unprotected by you. As the area remains unstable with armed looters roaming everywhere, do you venture into the devastated area to find their family, or focus on ensuring your own safety? Now, going back to these other questions, I think I know the link we're missing. Everyone, you need to know this is world without law, okay? So there's no rule of law here. So this is what's happening. We're already past apocalyptic times and that kind of thing. So that's how you're going to answer this question, or what you should think about as you're answering this question.
I almost want to, keep my own self, property, family safe. If I'm the only one there to do it, or am able to do it, then I got to protect mine. If I have somebody else that can protect me and my family and our things, then yeah, I can go look. But if it's just me, I'm protecting mine.
we're talking tornadoes here, northern hobbies. Those preps are gone. They're gone. If that family is missing, those preps are probably in Missouri, or probably in, I don't know, somewhere other than Springfield. They could be anywhere. From there, if that tornado is going there and through Springfield, then they'd probably end up at Lake of the Ozarks, somewhere in there. So yeah, those preps are gone. Let's look at what just happened with the flood. So I think I can accurately answer on my part with what's going on now. My crooked little homestead, how about you?
To me, family's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I can secure my family and have somebody that I can trust to watch, I would go and help and search. But unless my family is protected, it's like a gray area for me. My family
Okay.
comes first.
Totally get it. Okay.
Yeah, I would have to say family as well. I think if there's no one else to protect everybody, and the person who's asking for to go look, they're injured.
Okay.
So how are they going to protect my people while I'm not there? What if there's not a space for them trying to find their way back to come to that's safe?
Mm-hmm.
The other question is, what were they doing? Why were they out?
Okay.
What was the purpose? Was this something we all planned together? Was this something?
Wait a minute. Back up. I lost something somewhere. Wait, why was who all out?
The other people, were they out on a mission?
So when the tornadoes come through here, so my son, for example, where the police department he's with is Joplin Police Department.
Right.
And so when that tornado came through, it literally devastated.
So we're talking about they're missing because of the tornado.
Correct.
I missed that. I don't know how I missed that.
I think you
okay, well, in that case, the answer is no, because you don't know, you wouldn't even know where to start looking for somebody if the tornado just rolled through. They could be, you need to wait till daylight. You need to wait till you can, or if you have the ability to start searching for people that could be covered in rubble, etc. You need backup. You can't just be going out by yourself. You can put your own self in a position. Are there live lines? Are there, what's out there? Are we talking about flooding, electrical, other things that you're just walking out here in the, I'm assuming it's at night, because here that's usually when you get the tornadoes, isn't it? Dusk and at night.
Hey, Rabid, when that happens, let me know. My daughter-in-law and my son are down in that area, and we can maybe let them meet, and then she could have some like-minded support system down there, and that kind of thing. So when that happens, let me know. I'm supposed to Sam Russell. We need to do that next time we're down there. We've got to get Sam, and then we're all going to go to dinner. So they're about the same age. So, but yeah. So here's my deal. So I'm going to go from this two ways. So if it was a tornado that went from, so Springfield did have those tornadoes, I believe at the same time Joplin did. Joplin's just happened to be a much worse one. If I needed to go and find my son or do something like that, I'm going to find a way to make that happen. Or a best friend that, maybe they were just visiting or doing something. I'm going to find a way to make that happen. Now, I will say this too. This is why community is so incredibly important to build. This is one of the things that we're talking about right now. If something like that were to happen and phones are out, and this is real, phones are out, no electricity, no nothing. You can't get a hold of each other. There's no cell lines, no nothing. And so when that happens, then we have a community plan here. And I found a flaw in it. Well, Chris found the flaw, and I agree with the flaw. So everybody's got their comms. Not everybody has their licenses, so they can't really get through. So we have, within X amount of time, everybody needs to meet, and they need to meet at XYZ and do all of that. Everybody check in. We know what you're good, and we go with the plan from there. And then I started thinking about it, and I was talking to a neighbor about it. And Cowboy, we were all talking, and I said, here's what we came up with. So here's where you need to be. And he brought up a good point. And his point was, he said, that's a great idea. He said, but if we all show up, we're all leaving our homesteads. We're leaving everything that we have. So what we're going to need to do is, in my opinion, this is what we're going to do. Garen came up with it. Cowboy thought it was a good idea. So what we are going to do is we are going to have one designated person. So for us, we're right next door with our neighbor. So, and then whoever comes in, because other people are talking about buying here and doing that. So whoever our immediate neighbors are and that kind of thing, which, like I said, it's Kansas, so it's relative. Neighbor could be 5 miles. You just don't know. But if we can get to each other within a decent amount of time, one designated member of that immediate area will go in. And then that way we have people that are back with their homesteads who can actually go and check in and say, yes, XYZ, this person, this person, this person, everybody is good. We have security set up. It is in place and we're checked in. And then, and that would probably here on this road, it's probably going to be my husband going. He wants it to be Chris. And so he wants it to be the neighbor because he's got a horse. And so he could just ride the horse up and Gary wouldn't have to walk. So now we're talking about e-bikes and getting that as some of our preps so that we have them here. And then Garen will probably go ahead because he has the license for the ham radio. So we can have the ham radio back here. Mm-hmm. And if he's compromised on the road while he's trying to get there to check in, we will know. We will know what happened. And we know whether we can or cannot expect him back here. Right. And then we can regroup and figure out new security and what happens and where to go from there. So it's a lot more detailed in there.
I might figure out who's closest to me.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah.
You
if it's
you're walking distance from us. So I think I would include you as of right now, Jonathan, Martin's,
that's what I was saying. I'm close
other
to
people anywhere from
Sharpshooter in them, and
so so that's what I'm saying.
Roots.
I would consider that area. We would have one representative going in,
and
don't give it all away. Don't give it all away. Good, we got a lot, and so but we're gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to meet and figure out who that designated person is going to be. I think it's better that it's somebody who's licensed because when everything does go back in order, FCC finds out that you were on that radio and they can track it and they will track it. They find out that you were on that. There's going to be consequences later on. So just FYI. So I think it needs to be G because Grumpy will keep a lot of us out of trouble.
We'll need somebody back here though too, because they can communicate. They could communicate back to us.
He can communicate if Garen goes. We've got the radios.
We can listen and not
correct.
Be in trouble.
Correct. This is what I'm saying. So, So I think there's plans for a plan for a plan. So this is one that we're just kind of growing into. I heard somebody say comms were important. Yes, comms are important. Tornado, though, your comms may be gone.
That's true.
So
you don't have any towers.
You may not have any towers. Repeaters. The repeaters may be gone.
Yeah.
If you had a good antenna and you didn't lose your radio. That's what G's playing with right now while we're on here. If you had a good antenna, you can hit other repeaters farther away. So, but that's when your licensing comes in. This is why I keep telling you, you need to have where you can get on high frequency.
Which means that,
correct. And so, so you're taking a few tests. Well, a couple. So,
I'm tired of school.
It's not school. You're so smart. You're going to get it and be able to go test in 2 days, I bet. So, but yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of my opinion on that. Now that I've said that, would you guys change your mind or would you still say my family is first and foremost? I'm not leaving.
Well, maybe what you should do is pull in community.
You gotta speak louder. I think is the microphone picking her up when she talks that low?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, you could. Well, and if you look at it that way, then you could pull in community to help assist.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't necessarily have to leave your family alone and get out by yourself. If you've got community in the entire area, you could have help.
So now you're changing your position. What you're saying
because I'm better informed.
Okay.
See, that's like That's like here. I'll give you an example. Um, when we lost our house, the night that our house burnt, we had our regular fire department come in, but then 3 other fire departments came in from the other communities, and to back up their fire departments, if they got another call, they set it up like a community where one town, which is about a 15-minute drive away, will come and bring their firemen and sit at our station while they're fighting our fire, and vice versa. And there's like about 10 little towns all around us, and they send so many in, and then the other ones will go and they'll all have a certain amount of people at each fire department, so then everything's covered, right? So that's similar to like a community. Like, yeah, my family's first, but if I have somebody that I can watch, keep an eye, and secure my family, then I can go out and make sure. But like you say, as long as we can stay in contact with them, so they know what's happening, or if something's happened, then they know to beef up security. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
So there's 2 ways to really look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Little Miss Prepper?
I'm kind of with like Skeins. I mean, if since there is such a community and I don't really have to leave my family alone, and we got a community of people going out and looking, then that I would feel okay with that.
So in our extended community, we have quite a few people that went into North Carolina and searched a lot everywhere, and they were able, Bear did a great job on this. They were able to go in, keep everything pretty much organized, but of course he does this all the time. And so but they were able to go in there. This is where, from some of the people that were in there in our extended community, this was a lot of the true information I was getting that I was sharing with you. They've even done a few videos and they were sharing the truth. And so, but that's where a lot of that was coming. So the communication got better only when they were able to actually get out of those valleys, though. And so that's when we were getting reports back and all of that. So communication is important, but however, those floods were so bad and the whole thing was so devastating. Unfortunately, a lot of those people that were ham radio licensed probably weren't alive. So there was not a lot of information able to come out.
And it would depend on where you were too, because like where Ashley is, it's flat.
No, that's what that's what you need to visit with G on that a little bit. And
I need a lot of visit because I don't know a lot about what.
My idea, so you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, she told me to flip that up though and make where I could stand the tall stuff up.
Skeins cleaned my fridge out today. I didn't have the nerve while she's cleaning out telling me how I need to get organized and get these containers and all this shit, how to run my refrigerator. And finally I just snapped and I looked at her and I said, look, if I didn't have 2 freeze dryers down, half that crap wouldn't even be in there right now. And I said, number 2, I said, there is only me and one other person that live in this house. And I said, so, and she's like, well, other people use your refrigerator. And I'm like, so here's what I'm telling you. My refrigerator, my house, you don't like it, you fix it.
I'll fix it. Don't dare.
Well, it was raining. She was bored. What else is she supposed to do inside?
Well, I haven't. Normally I help out doing something and I haven't because I've been out running around crazy in circles. So it needed to be done. And I know she is so busy trying to get so many things done. I thought it'd be nice if I did that for her because she don't have time for that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to pull my hair out sometimes, but yeah, anyway. So,
I used to do that as a kid all the time. I organize my friends' rooms.
Oh, I know. This is why I love it when the farm sitters come over. I mean, one of them, she is like a redneck's dream. she just, that girl, oh, I love her coming over here. She's always constantly cleaning some, and she loves, for some reason, it's weird, she loves cleaning the stove. So
What?
yeah, and so like when I'm going to festivals and doing all of that, like I know it's okay for me to leave the stove the way it is. I come back, Fee has that whole damn thing
I was
spotless
supposed to
by the
say,
time
well,
I
I
get
know who
home.
to call. Look, we're gonna be making some ice cream today while you're here.
Should,
Clean my stuff.
should love to do it. Now hold on a minute. Because now there's a new baby coming into town, and so she's the oldest. She's gonna have to help out because they now they've got their basketball team set. So
She's expecting.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
that's because I got to know first because I am the adopted grandmother. So all of the grandmothers got to know first.
And she was out the other day with the littlest too. Oh my god!
Mhm.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Yeah, I ran into him and had my. He's my little soulmate. If he wasn't 5, he'd be the perfect man for me. But he spoke to me, and I turned around to say something, and then I realized
The
who it was.
littlest, is that what you said?
No.
Oh, okay, and I don't have to say it. I know.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah,
names,
yeah,
but
yeah.
no.
Okay, so terrorism, violence, and thought crimes. Yeah. On July 14th, 2029, the power grid in Central California faces a catastrophic overload due to cyber attack combined with an intense heat wave. You guys, I swear these cards were written before the pandemic. And so keep that in mind and do all of that. Cities and towns are without electricity, and the electrical company says it will be weeks before the power is restored. Your work as the director as a high security prison and your backup generators broke. They broke down due to a lack of maintenance just days after running nonstop. You have a choice to let all the inmates loose in the yard and risk a riot, or let them stay in their cells, where some of them will die of heat stroke if there is a riot and the prison's population escapes. The nearby towns will be at the inmates' mercy. If you let them stay in their cells, you risk causing their deaths and maybe becoming a future inmate yourself. How would you handle this situation and why? I'm going to save mine for last because mine's probably going to be a hell of a lot colder than any of yours.
Well, I don't know. They're gonna. The problem is, if you let them
Look at
out,
the
they're
camera.
gonna. If you let them out, they're gonna riot. Okay. It's a no give. You got everybody outside. This is their chance. There's way more of them than there are of you, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, they're in there being punished for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about your local sheriff's office jail that's holding a few people who drank a little too much or was jaywalking or something. We're talking about prison. I would say you don't have any backup, they're going to have to stay in the cell.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, it's not, there's no winning situation with this one.
Okay. So they're going to die.
Well, they're going to die, but they're going to die if you put them all out there in the yard, because you're going to have this one who's got a beef with that one, who has a problem with this one, and it's going to be complete chaos out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how about you, Lucy?
Well, if there was a way where you could leave, well, it doesn't matter if you leave a few out in the yard and then take turns back and forth. You're still, if you've got no backup, you're still risking your own life. Yeah, no, I wouldn't let them out.
Yeah. Even though they were going to die.
Well, someone would make
Hang on, I'm asking Lucy.
Yeah, even if they were going to die.
Okay, and so why? Because what, in your opinion, what would happen if you let them out? So why the difference?
Well, number one, you don't know their back history. You don't know, and just like Skane's girl said, somebody could have a beef with another person. And depending, because see, prisons they have all different sections. Depends if you're in control, because there could be 5 different. There could be A, B, C, D, E, F, and they're housing so many each. And is it the whole prison? Are you going to be taking care of that? You could have 30, 40 inmates in each section. Are you going to be able to handle them if you put them out? Or
I think
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hear what you're saying. But here in the States, I do believe they have to have so many guards per
Yeah.
inmates, but
Inmates.
that doesn't mean that always
Here too.
happens.
It's
That's
not
right.
enough to handle them all out together.
No,
How about
it's
you,
not,
Little Miss?
because you might each area you might have 3 or 4 guards, and if it shuts down, everything is shut down. You got to think, if there's no power or anything and they don't have nothing back up, how long is their inside lights going to last in the hallways, in the walkways, and you know what I mean,
Yeah,
inside the cell area themselves. So
sure.
it's going to be total darkness, chaos, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it'd be better
Yeah.
to keep them locked in.
Yeah. Hey, Rabbit, just play the game, man. You are too smart for your britches, and so just play the game. It's a game. So, but go ahead, MP. What about you?
So I would go ahead and execute anyone that needs to be executed. And then everybody else fight it out, and then they can all die. They can kill each other.
Oh. Yeah.
But
Tiger, yes.
That's one thing anyways I don't like. Why are we feeding these people anyways and housing them and all this kind of crap? Anyway.
You got her going.
I would have to freaking go in there and I would literally just go get the list and I would find out who is on a lifetime sentence, how old everybody is, who's got a death sentence, and shoot them all. I mean, just get them in there and wipe them all out, unalive them, and get that done. And because anybody that's left, which isn't going to be many of them, but any of them that's left, those are your less severe crimes, right? And so then you just figure that out, let them take care of themselves. Maybe they can just, kind of, I told you mine was going to be cold, but
and I believe
LMP beat me to it. So, but yeah, I'm with you. You and I should never run a prison.
No.
Oh, Taylor Grumpy is playing. He is playing on his ham radio. So that's what he's after. You're talking different antennas and computers and software and all this other stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I hear you. I don't have to say anything else on it. So there's that. That was fun. Oh, I'm a cold-hearted person, I'll tell you. No compassion for anybody. All right, so let's go to emergency preparedness basics, because we always have to do one of these, right? Get everybody thinking what they need to add on to, what they're going to do, and that kind of thing. Have you considered taking part in a local community emergency response team, CERT, a similar volunteer program to enhance your preparedness skills and contribute to the overall resilience of your neighborhood during a crisis? They should answer first.
Yeah, y'all should go first.
It's funny because I have my daughter that's a teacher. Her best friend since grade 6 became a paramedic, and when she was going through college and that for her to get her degree, summertime she would come and work with me, and we'd go paint and clean cottages and stuff. And she used to bring her paramedic book along, and she used to get me to read, and that's how she studied. So I got to learn a whole bunch of different things all about first aid and everything, and getting into there was questions that they would ask, what would you do in this situation or that situation? And so I'd give her all the questions, and then she'd have to give me the answers. Then I'd have to go to the back of the book and see if her answers were correct and everything. And it was hilarious. But yeah. And
stop it, Starla. See, I have to give Starla your phone number now, and then you can just help her.
I'm Yoda too.
You guys are like twins. My husband asked me, who's those 2 Pepper twins on there?
Oh my gosh.
If you two go back and look at the video when we're all done this, if you go back and watch it, you guys look like twins with them hats matching, almost matching
it
hats.
was an accident. I mean, I got on a red, white, and blue shirt, but I noticed early we both got on black shirts.
Oh, I didn't even.
You got a hoodie.
I think I looked at her finally about what 2:00.
Yeah.
Then I said I better go join the living.
Yeah.
And get change, brush my teeth, and that kind of thing. But yeah, because you get in, you start doing dishes, getting things straightened up and that kind of thing, and you can do that from your PJs. Why?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why?
But I would.
So,
But like to the question,
They look like. Yeah, I watched on Bonanza, Little Joel and that. They show double
double exposure.
exposure.
Yeah,
Look,
I feel like a double
double
mint commercial.
exposure. But
Yeah.
anyways, to the
She was
question to the
having
medical and
flashbacks of
that.
Bonanza.
Yeah. Well, the one show that he watches, they talk about double exposure in pictures.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what he said. You guys look like double exposure.
Yeah.
The twins. I'm going to call you the Bobby twins.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's really interesting to me because there's somebody, well, there's actually, I'm going to say probably every place we ever lived, there was somebody who I either looked like or they look like me or this and that. And they're always like, have I met you before? Wait, I'm like, no, don't know who you are. And then, or they'll do, say something else and that kind of thing. And, or they think I did something terrible and that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Never been there. That's not me.
Right.
And so I do get a lot of that. Growing up,
And it
who was
wasn't
that
me.
girl? Who was that girl? So, I kind of wish my dad was on here. Growing Pains, the little blonde-headed girl.
Yeah,
That's what I looked like when I was a kid. And so, and we lived in San Diego at the time. And my grandparents lived in La Habra, and my other set of grandparents lived up in the high desert north of Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get a lot of that.
Mm.
And then the Go-Go's? The Bangles came out, and the lead singer, and I just so happened to cut my hair. It was nothing like it. Carmel.
Yeah.
And Belinda Carmel. And apparently that was like a huge thing. Like even when I met G, I apparently looked like her. I think I just have that. See, I'm the gray man. I just fit in everywhere. Nobody knows who I am.
I had that happen in South Louisiana when I first moved down there. Her name was Debbie or Donna, and everywhere I went, they thought that that's who I was. And then they say, oh, yeah, but you're a little bit older than her. And I was talking to my mom, and she told me, she said, well, your daddy was working down there when you were 2 or 3 years old. It might be your sister. Because when I tell you, I see my daddy every day before I look a lot like my dad.
Yeah. No. So, kind of crazy. I was going to say something. I can't even remember what I was going to say. But anyway, so, we'll get back on this. Y'all crazy thinking there's all kinds of, let's do one of these because we know Trump's coming into office. So this is going to happen.
Coming, the pandemic.
Yeah. So let's see what this has got going on. All right. We're going to pandemic. On February 6th, 2028, in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana, a new pandemic is spreading fast throughout the globe, killing 30% of the infected people of all age groups. The government has fast-tracked another vaccine. Oh, my God. And they are forcing everyone to take it. The last time your government did this years ago, these really were written before the pandemic. They really were.
Yeah.
Forcing everyone to take it. The last time your government did this years ago, the vaccine had several complications which were suppressed by the media.
Yes.
They even silenced scientists that were experts in that vaccines technology who were arguing against it. And that actually happened too.
That's all true.
Yeah.
Would you take this new vaccine your government is mandating, or would you take the chances that an illness that has a 30% death rate? Well,
I'm going to give you the Skeins answer.
I mean, I literally already answered
no
part of this. No, I did. I when I was talking about when we were in were we in the bank run?
So you know what y'all would do.
I know what we would do.
My answer would be not no, but hell no.
Mm-hmm.
It was not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now that I know now, of the way everything is. Never again, ever, ever,
Sure.
ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. How about
Yeah.
you, MP? What you got? Yeah.
No. And I'll just stay away from people.
Yep. You don't even have to stay away from people, you know, but I don't know. A lot of these, let's just say this. I'm with Kennedy and I'm with Senator Mullen. And there are designs in these that are made to take out
That's right. Certain people.
to unlive some people.
Well, first of all, I would just let her rip. New Orleans is a very liberal city. Just saying.
Oh, no, not with a weapon, Timber, with an antenna, I'm sure. Sure, it was an antenna.
After my grandson telling me that it wasn't mandatory for them to have the pokey poke when this pandemic went on, but yet they were forcing everybody else. They didn't have to, and so he didn't bother.
Sure.
And he said he wasn't going to let anybody poke him.
Yeah.
But like he said
Probably
because
saved his life, Lucy. That saved his life.
Yeah.
Good for him for making that decision.
Especially when he's been diagnosed from little. We took him to kindergarten for the first time.
Shooting out there. You want to? I'll do it. Here's the next part.
Okay.
Yep. Timber, you're right.
I had to be there when we took him to kindergarten.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
and he was over almost 10 pounds when he was born. He was a big baby. And we took him into kindergarten for his first day. And the first thing that came out of the teacher's mouth is, "Oh, the grade 4 students are upstairs. You'll need to take him upstairs." That's how big my grandson was. And my daughter turns around and says, No, he's just starting kindergarten. He's only 4 years old. It was junior kindergarten. And she said, "Oh, okay." And then the kids started picking on him because he was so big. So he started getting to the point where he was so fed up. When she went to work and she had to put him in daycare because she was raising him by himself, he got a call and had to leave work and go and get him from daycare because the kids were picking on him at daycare so bad. He got so frustrated and so mad. Every time they were playing tag and they'd run around through the living room, down the hallway, and it was like, the dining room, the living room, and they were going around and they wouldn't involve him. So he got mad. And as they were coming around the corner, he swung his arm out, straight out, and he clotheslined every one of them and almost knocked them all out. I shouldn't laugh, but that's how he got back at them. And then when the teacher started giving him a hard time because he was so big, she started, she'd do certain things to get him angry. He picked up and then he would throw it at her. The little desks that they sat at. And finally she had to get the teachers wouldn't let him come back in the school unless she got him tested. And he was tested with ADHD and ODD. And then the school wouldn't allow him back in school unless he was medicated. Well, she moved and he went to another school and they didn't want him medicated at all. And they had no problem with him. But if she was to take him back to the school, he wasn't allowed back in that school unless he was medicated. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And
But that's all the government and the schools, medicate the kid. It's the worst thing you can do for kids.
Yeah.
yep. One thing, let me say, Cooking with Mike B. I am not going to put a link out for you. This is Ladies' Night panel. But if you want to put something in the chat, you're welcome to put it in the chat, but I'm not going to give you a link.
Yep. And then any of our mods, moderate that comment if you would, please. But
He did that the last time.
No, I haven't read any cards.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, that's fine. Just an update. Everything's fine. G is actually on the computer in the bedroom. So, Tamber, I think you're a little bit behind in what he was hearing out there is an antenna. What I was hearing, the wind is blowing so hard, I was hearing some of the 10 from the loafing shed.
Oh, wow.
And so, it sounded like shots to me. So that's why I ran out there, make sure everything was okay. Because we just had two new babies. We had a set of twins come in.
That.
2 days old today. And with this weather and what's going on, we've got mountain lions and bobcats and predators that will and have, they'll jump in, and they'll usually, and they're terrible. They won't take the whole body. They'll just tear legs off. It's weird. It's the most bizarre. So, but yeah, so I just want to make sure that was good. But yeah, yeah, see, Nor the Girl with the Wind is the best time to hunt. Yeah. So we just watch out for that. But no, all is good. Everybody's good. So, all right. Okay, you guys ready to move on? Have you talked about all that? Nobody got me banned. Nobody's getting
No.
MP banned. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. All right. So now we're going to go on to religion. On May 16th, 2031, in the remnants of New York City, your religious leader and some members of your congregation claim that another group is practicing witchcraft, causing fear and unrest. The leaders of the congregation ask your opinion regarding what should be done. Do you suppress these rumors, risking potential dissent among your own group,
My phone's going dead.
or act on them, potentially leading to unjust prosecution of others? This has happened in history.
Yes, multiple times.
And I mean, you can say somebody's doing witchcraft, but until you actually go and see it for yourself, do you really know they're doing witchcraft?
Sure. How many times have I been accused of doing witchcraft? And everybody's just joking and funny, haha, right? The comfrey salves, the DMSO, doing that and that kind of thing, and all the herbs and, the infusing and doing all of that. How many times, and here everybody just jokes, because everybody wants to learn to do that. But let's take that back down into history and let's go over to Salem. And so there is a museum there. You can go to the museum. You can actually go look and see what happened. And a lot of these girls, they were accused of, women were accused of witchcraft simply because some other stupid girl, sitting across, like the same boy that she had, her boyfriend, and calls her a witch. And next thing you know, she's hung or burned on fire.
Right. And like Rabbit said, how do you know it's witchcraft?
Right.
How do you recognize it's witchcraft?
Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
Well, if you really thought it was witchcraft,
Witchcraft.
Yeah, witchcraft. We'll get away to witchcraft. You can, I think you should pray about it. She shouldn't be.
They did pray about it. Have you ever been to Salem? Have you ever been there?
No, I watched a lot about the witch trials, and honestly, it was
on that. You gotta go see it. You need to go see it. It's worth the trip.
It is. It's horrible what they did to these women, and what they based it on.
And and think about it. That was one of the quickest ways for control, right?
Yep.
And so, it works really well.
Yeah.
And look at what's happening. Let's not even talk about witchcraft. Let's look at what's happening right now. So everything that the Democrats are accusing the Republicans of doing that's bad is exactly what the Democrats are doing right now.
Yeah.
And so, then we play devil's advocate here. And so then we turned it around at the polls and we said, we're not having enough. I could see the only thing that I could see getting testy in that question is the fact that your pastor or religious leader or whatever is coming to you. There's nothing you can say. So, because I would be like, you really don't know. And it's freedom of religion. So why are we even in their business and doing that? I know Southern Baptist Church, especially during hard times, that may get you shot. And, you talk about, let's even go as far as what Mennonite and Amish, you may get excommunicated. Yeah. And so, there's going to be consequences, but isn't there always consequences to honesty? There is. And so, we're dealing with that locally. And so, anyway, but... All right, well, it's 8:12. We can go in a regular conversation. I can do another card. You guys up for another card? What would you like?
Yeah, we can do another card.
Okay. Let's go. And I'm not sure if we've done one of these yet. So let's go in here. We did that one. This probably be lost. The last one, we can pick more. World War III. Let's go into there. On August 28th, 2033, in the city, was it always Detroit, Michigan? In the city of
Detroit.
It's
Yeah.
the dirty city.
In the city of Detroit, Michigan, during World War III, you are a civilian who has discovered a hidden cache of desperately needed food and water. However, you learn that these supplies are earmarked for a nearby military base. Ugh. Taking the supplies would help your starving community, but it would also deprive the military of essential resources. That is not even where I was going, but I'll tell you where I was going later when I answer this. Do you distribute the supplies to your neighbors or leave them for the military, knowing your community will continue to suffer?
Mhm. Mm.
Everybody else should know how to forage.
Mm.
Everybody else should know how to forage.
Rabbit's like, it's all mine.
It's all
Then Rabbit, you get caught, your butt's going to federal prison.
Well, I don't even know if it's prison. They might freaking take your ass right the hell out
They might.
over that.
They might. Yep, they might.
Yeah.
How about
Mhm.
you, MP? How about you? Hard
Probably,
decision.
Tough one.
yeah, probably leave it. I mean, because also,
Everybody should know how to forage. It's on my channel.
Who's whispering? I hear somebody whispering in the background.
Yeah.
You know exactly who that is.
I
we should all be foraging.
Yeah.
So, and also, we have a playlist on foraging. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you should all have your community, anyways, should be able to garden, forage, hunt, and be able to feed yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What would you do? What would you do?
I don't know. I'm thinking. It would depend. It would really depend. How bad are we starving?
No, you're starving. It means, well, because they're also in Detroit, Michigan, and so okay. So let me say this, and I hear what All American is saying. Okay, but you need to understand that a lot of these big cities like Detroit, Michigan, St. Louis, Kansas City, Topeka. And I know this because I've studied this because we had to figure this out for human trafficking. Okay, so it's going to be Houston. It's going to be Dallas. It's going to be a lot of these Louisiana, New Orleans, that kind of thing.
Rouge.
All of this is set up, including Washington, D.C., which is very interesting to me. And so a lot of these big cities, these capital cities, all of this stuff was set up. And what they didn't realize is they created what we call a food desert. And so that food desert, there is nowhere to quote unquote forage. So if you find a city park, you find let's see, the purslane that grows in the sidewalk cracks and that kind of thing. So you can find some stuff, but there's not enough for millions and millions of people. It's just not going to happen. And so those people will be starving. So I think the problem here is that this is a card that already preppers and people living in the country and doing all of that, it's that we're reading. I think it would be answered differently by the city people. However,
I do too.
I think the city people, I think this is also going to set them up for the consequences like I was talking about. That becomes a federal crime. It always is.
And can you even get it out of there? Because if you're in the city, it's bad.
Well, I'd like to know where they found a federal cache.
Yeah.
In the city. So, you never know, but I'd like to know how they found it. It's
Well,
an
then
odd
obviously
question
for them to know it's a federal, they've got to be on a military.
They're near a military base.
Yeah.
So, but I would also think that, of course, the way they were protecting Trump, you have no idea. But I would also think that that perimeter, especially in those times, end of World War III, I grew up on a Navy base, on military bases all over. When there are times of high alert and that kind of thing, there is extra security, and you go into what they call red alert. And so there's extra security. They're checking with mirrors under the vehicles. They're doing all this stuff. And you do have people on the fence lines and that kind of thing. I think they'd see it before you could even get it.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they would see it before you could get it.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're just giving them an excuse to take you out or
Yep.
figure out where you're from and who you're trying to feed. And obviously, especially during World War III, let's go ahead and look back to World War II, World War I, when World War I is a great example. When women went into factories and they took over the ammunition making and airplane making and all that, and saved their nylons, made sure their nylons were being put to work, and taking care of the rations and all that. If there was somebody who didn't do that, they were considered a traitor. So that just gives the military an excuse. You're going to be considered a traitor. They're just going to take you out anyway. They're not even going to mess with you.
Also.
I don't know. But I also, the military's got better places to do a cache than
inside the city.
Than inside the city. So
especially where Detroit.
Yeah. Well, that but it could be a good spot if there's some. So think about Chinese war or something like that. Excuse me. Canada is where they're going to come through.
Detroit's already a war zone.
Yep, I've already been through there once.
Yeah, but Canada is where they're going to come through, right? So I could see something like that. But I think when we think cache, we're thinking of, I don't know, hand me this.
Like dairy.
You don't even have to. No.
Which one?
No. That's not even what I was asking for.
There's
But okay,
candy.
thank you. But no.
There's some candy.
But there is you're not thinking 1 5-gallon bucket cache. So if the military is going to do that for cache, military, you're talking a bunker that would be 1,000 by 1,000 feet if they made it possible. I mean, those things already exist. So there's basically underground warehouses. That's where all that's going to be.
Oh yeah.
So
does that mean you might be in an underground warehouse somewhere that you've run across this stuff?
You wouldn't even know about it. You'd never find it. The only way that you would be able to find something like that, and we've talked about this, when somebody had a certain job and that kind of thing, SHTF came, we knew exactly what equipment we needed to get, where to get it, and what happened. And so if you have that military history and you've been in that, only thing you were supplies, and then you were delivery and that kind of thing. So you were a warehouse worker. But so I don't know. It would have to be an inside person, but I think if it was an inside person, they're definitely going to know there's consequences for what they're doing, especially if you clear up something like that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there might have been a time back in the day when you could have done something like that.
Oh,
but with technology that we have today, even without rule of law, the military's still going to have that shit.
I mean, if you're talking back in the day, you're talking like way back in the day.
Way back, way before I was born.
Before I was born.
Yeah.
And so, because I want to say when they probably really tighten the straps and that kind of thing, I'm going to say that's probably around the times. I'm going to say probably, oh no, it would have been in the 30s probably. So maybe a long time ago.
During the Great Depression.
Yeah, it would have been during the Great Depression. Yeah. So
that was right before World War One.
World
War II.
World War II.
Yeah. And then,
because my mom talked. Me growing up, my mom talked about it. She was 9 years old, and she had my grandfather was very sick, and she had to go and take a job to help her mother, because she was the oldest, and she helped her mother. She was at 9 years old ironing shirts and stuff in a factory so that they could get enough money to buy stamps to buy food.
Yeah.
Well, my mom was born at the beginning of the Great Depression, and she was a teenager, I think, during World War II. Yeah. But yeah, she remembers when
she was a teenager. She wasn't married.
She was married as a teenager, as I found out. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
She remembers getting stamps when you had to get stamps to go get coffee, sugar.
Yep.
Nylons. all
Yeah,
kinds of
'cause
stuff.
the 15, 16-year-olds were all going out to fight war, and they were marrying their 13, 14-year-old girlfriend. It was
Yeah.
not, this was not anything looked down upon, down
She was
on.
like 16. So yeah, and her
Mhm.
first one went to
Yep.
war.
My grandma, my first grandmother, she thought she was 13. Well, Nana, she thought she was 13. Turned out her birth certificate was incorrect, and she was actually 11. Papa didn't know. They were both mortified, and she didn't find out until like I was alive, right? So, but then my grandmother was 14, I believe, and then my grandfather was 16, I think, and yeah, because Uncle Claude was born when she was 15. So yeah, but
Yeah, my father fought in the Second World War. He was 24 when he got drafted.
yeah, kind of crazy. You look back on history and kind of see how all that stuff did.
And I don't have any of his pictures. My oldest sister we don't communicate at all. She got all the pictures when my parents died when I was a teenager, and she never distributed them to any of the family. And she kept them. I don't even know if she still has them. I have the only picture I have is the one I put on Facebook when I do the remembrance, and then for his birthday, and that's a picture of him when he was in the army.
Mhm.
It's the only picture I have of him. But it is what it is.
You guys want another card? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Doesn't matter to me. I got my phone on the charger because it's going dead. I'm only at 13%, so I'm standing in my kitchen with the phone on the charger.
Yeah. Oh, I got your package, by the way. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, so now, yeah, I got it
That was
today.
fast.
Yeah, and then, well, we don't live that far apart. It's just I'm on the good side. You're you're not. You're on the communist side.
It didn't come damaged or anything. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, no.
And you're
great.
able to use them?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, yes.
Very
yes.
nice.
It was
Yeah, because they got the
like, would you get what?
They've got
Very
the
nice.
oxygen absorbers in the kit and everything. It was a whole kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen a kit like that. That was really very cool.
I got it off of Amazon.
Yeah, I haven't seen an offer. Either that or it was too expensive for me, and I was just like, no, thank you. I passed on it. I don't know.
No, it wasn't very expensive, but I got it a year ago, and I thought I was going to start learning to do all that, and then I just didn't get into it, and I said, "The heck with it."
Yeah.
And you do it more than I do, and I can't have a freeze dryer here because of my power.
Well,
but,
yeah,
so,
yeah. We had that conversation today. Yeah. So
I'm glad you could use it.
Yeah, thank you. The economic collapse. Let's go there. The reason why I'm kind of picking on economic collapse tonight is because Saturday night we figured out that this is when we were doing risk assessment and that kind of thing and going over everything. I do want to talk to you guys about that. So after we do this, I want to go a little bit into that. So everybody hang on. I'm going to share some things with you that is going to floor you. But we found out that your biggest fear, your pet fear of everything is economic collapse.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to talk about it a little bit, because it's good when we can put four brains together and get the community and everybody in, we can kind of come up with options and that kind of thing. And that maybe that helps stop that fear, right? So, so that's where we're at. In 2008, Spain experienced a severe economic crisis due to a housing market collapse. You're a bank employee in Madrid responsible for approving mortgage applications. You're aware that the bank's lending practices are contributing to the crisis, but your performance is measured by the number of loans you approve. Do you continue to approve risky loans to meet your targets and keep your job? Or do you defy your superiors and risk losing your livelihood? I'm going to answer this last because I've been through this 2008 crisis. I worked for the bank. So you all go first. So I'd like to hear from you before anybody else speaks.
Oh, crap.
Yep.
I don't know what I would do.
Just, you have a choice. You either, what would you do? Do you continue to approve risky loans to meet your targets? Because you're in an economical collapse. You need money too, right?
Right.
And keep your job. Or do you defy your superiors and risk losing your livelihood? It's cut and dry. What would you do?
Well, frankly, It depends who's getting burned for the risky loans. I'm not in charge. I'm just a peon.
It's literally going to be so who's going to get burned? So her question is who's going to get burned for those risky loans?
Right.
Essentially what happens, okay,
Mhm.
when that happens, I'll give you this information because I know that
Yeah.
tends to help you guys come up with it. So when that happens, eventually you're going to have an audit and that's going to come in. If you have allowed and you're giving risky loans, right?
Mhm.
So then you're also not following the oh gosh, dang it, I lost my you're also not following the insurance policy where no account should have over $250,000. You should be insured on all of that, and you as a client, right?
Okay.
So, but this bank has
Mhm.
told, let's just say they've told me as a clerk, this is hypothetical, this is not facts, this is just a way to explain it, guys. And so I was told they are a very good client. You allow them to go ahead and put $1 million into that account. And so I say, okay, and I let you put $1 million into that account.
Mhm.
You're only insured for 250,000.
Right.
And so if that bank goes under, you're only insured for 250,000. They just cost you 750,000. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're the one, the client, the ones with the bank accounts. And even if you are
Right,
insured,
but I'm the clerk.
but no, you're the one with the money. You said who's going to absorb? Well, okay, so you're the
right. I'm the
you're
clerk.
not the clerk in the cards example. You're the loan officer.
Right.
Your performance depends on if you do it. You're going ahead and you're
I got
going
a
ahead and
quota.
doing. You've got a quota to meet. It's the only way you're going to get a paycheck. Okay, but this bank is already screwed up, and it's screwed up bad. And so now it's given risky loans. You know it's getting ready to go under. You've got. Here's one thing the card doesn't talk about, but I also know. Hang on, I also know it's because the writers of the cards have never worked for a bank,
Mhm.
and so they don't know. But what happens once you get audited, then you have the government coming in, and it's bad and it's ugly.
Right.
And you're going to have people. In fact, we just had this in California, as a matter of fact. Just what was that, last year, a year
Mhm.
before? Okay, so now you know what you would do. You got some information. Now you know
Right.
what you would do. What would you
Now
do?
that I have more of an understanding.
Okay, what would you
I
do?
think what I need to do is get ahead of this shit. I need to cut my ties and freaking take my butt somewhere else.
Okay. And you have time to do that.
Yeah, I have time to do that now,
Mm-hmm.
not once I start getting audited and then I'm under.
Well, you personally are not getting audited.
Well, they're going to get audited.
Yes.
But you know what happens, and I know this from my regular career,
Sure.
shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
So if you're down at the bottom, guess where it's going to
You're going to get nailed.
That's right. So the best thing to do is before they get shut down and you don't have a job and no options because you just left a company that collapsed because of their bad choices, go ahead, cut ties, skedaddle, start a new career, do something somewhere else.
Yep.
That would be what I would do. No,
I got audited once by the government. My sister-in-law told me I was going to get screwed over. Yeah, I know it's different.
It's different. So it's not a personal audit. It is actually a bank audit, and they dig through everything. And
they do.
So before I don't want to give everything away. I really want to hear everybody's comments on this. So what would you do? Would you quit your job, try to find another job, or would you keep giving the risky loans, knowing there's not a guarantee that you're going to get another job?
Yeah,
I'm the one that I would quit my job and I would go and get a better job someplace else, a more safer job, because I've been in situations where, with businesses or whoever I was working for or whatever, for them to screw up or whatever. And I just walk away from it and start all over someplace else, which is safer. Okay. Because I don't believe in credit cards. I got rid of all that like 15, 20 years ago. And my dad told me growing up, if you can't afford to pay for it cash, you don't need it.
Sure. Yeah. That doesn't apply for businesses though. So
no, I know. My husband was self-employed. That's when we got audited. And my sister-in-law told me that we would be screwed by the government. Like we would get charged and everything. And my books, even though I'm not an accountant, never took accounting or nothing, my books were to a T and they were very pleased with it. So
nice, beautiful. Come do my books, will you? MP, how about you?
I would probably also leave the company, leave the bank. I mean, if they're going to go under
Oh, yeah.
anyway, why am I going to stay? And okay, yes. Before you leave the bank, tell everybody to go get a van and live in a van.
That's more popular now they'll do that, but
Yeah.
then that wasn't so popular, you know,
Nah.
for
Well,
early
I'll give you
2000s.
guys an example. Okay. The bank that I'm at, I'm keeping an eye on
Uh-huh.
right now. Okay. I won't say the name of the bank. They screwed up and they sent us all emails
Mhm.
and saying that they had what they had done, and they explained it all. And some people are still having problems of getting money out of their accounts, and their account, everything got screwed up so bad, and they're trying to correct it.
Yeah.
So I keep an eye on all that stuff, because
Sure.
if it comes down to it and I have to change, I'll switch. I'll switch no matter what.
Yep. Okay. So
It's all
everybody has
trust.
their answers in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's see what you do.
So during the last housing crisis that we had, I was actually working for a bank at the time, and it was a family-owned bank that had several different branches and that kind of thing. It was a good bank, I thought, and we had nice Christmas parties and nice little things, incentives. We were appreciated, we thought. Kind of just felt like one big happy family, right?
Mm-hmm.
The son-in-law was the main officer at my branch, and then the daughter of the bank president and the bank president's wife at another branch, she was the branch manager. And so you already see where this is going, right? I'm sure everybody does. And so we started seeing that there were more board meetings happening. We couldn't figure out what was going on. I started seeing that, and it really sucked. It was the day before Thanksgiving. It was that Wednesday, and I happened to be working, and all of a sudden we were having issues with things going to Fed. So when you process the checks and everything comes in and all of that, we noticed the files being sent 1, 2, 3 times. So people that had large amounts in their bank account, so, 26,000, that kind of thing, they should have been able to afford gas to get to where they were going for Thanksgiving. All of a sudden they couldn't, because all of their bank account, because it got hit so many times through Fed and processed, their account was negative. So they were coming in and they were, upset and all that. Anyway, so we started noticing things like that. And so we were like, hey, wait a minute. The son-in-law of the bank president, who I said was the loan officer, all of a sudden he found a job with a new bank, and he left the bank, right? He had the heads up. He knew what was coming. So a holiday, I saw what was going on. I felt really bad for a woman. She was crying in front of me. And I said, you know what? Let me see what I can do. I found a solution. Other people were on board with it. So I had witnesses. I had an entire list and wrote every name down of who I could at least credit back, because I can go in their account and see how many times that same check or whatever came out. So I can go back and credit -1, right? And so I was able to fix that, wrote their names down, exactly how much I credited back, that kind of thing, had all of that. Here's my screw up. I did not secure that list before I left for the holiday. When I got back to work on Monday morning, not only did I have people sitting in front of me, there were several people that ended up getting fired. So not only did I have people sitting in front of me accusing me of embezzlement, because that's where that went. They were going to put it on us. They were going to put all of this crap on us.
That's how it rolls.
And they accused me of embezzlement and then handed me, I kid you not, a 3-month severance package. I knew I was the fall guy. I was the fall guy. And then come to find out there were other people. One of them was in charge of some pretty big stuff and that kind of thing. She got fired because She ran the books. She did all that stuff. She got fired. There were several of us that got nice severance packages that week. It was like Merry Christmas. And so then in turn, I thought, well, this is no big deal, right? And so I thought, well, I'm good at my job. Here's what I was doing, assistant manager, that kind of thing. I'll just go over and I'll get another job at a different bank. I have plenty of experience. I had to put that bank on my resume. They would entertain me with an interview. Basically, you could see the interview was a waste of my time. They were never going to hire me. Never. It was never going to happen.
Yep.
And so, and then it wasn't but 3 months after that happened. No, because it was after our severance packages were done. So it probably took about 6 to 8 months after that. All the branches closed. They were done.
Yep. That's why I said get out in front of it, because.
Well, you know what that was over? What they say started it?
Mm-hmm.
It was bad loans. The construction. So the construction companies were coming in, the builders, and they wanted these $1 million loans. And so they would figure out a way to get them. And we had a housing crisis.
Right.
And when the housing crisis hit, they couldn't sell the houses. Yeah. They couldn't pay their notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And so that, that is also one of the things that started the chain of who has a mortgage in here. So then what they did is they did a 30-day scramble. You know what I call the 30-day scramble?
Right.
Hey, you have a housing note with that? You have 30 days notice. You need to either get that refinanced or we're foreclosing. You're done. That happened. And so, yeah, I don't know. So I think you just have to make sure, like anything else, you have to keep your head on a swivel. You got to keep your ear to the ground. You got to pay attention to what's happening around you. And if I was smart enough to have caught on when the son-in-law left, I could have got ahead of that and been with a much better bank.
Yeah.
But that got me into real estate, and I love real estate, so it's not a big deal. So, and make a lot more money. But yeah, so interesting. So what do y'all think about that? I mean, that's something that can just really do a lot.
Well, that happened to a lot of people in 2008.
It happened to a lot of people. It wasn't even about the housing crisis, but in California, Silicon Valley. Remember all that bank run that happened?
Yep.
And so, let's see, Northern Girl Yoda, I couldn't get access to equity in my house. That's paid off. Yeah. No. Yep. And there's a reason. There's a reason for that. That's a red flag. You wouldn't want to get that from that company anyway. But kind of crazy. All right, it's 8:40. You guys, I don't care. We can keep going with the game. I think you look like you're getting ready to fall asleep. 9 o'clock is her call. She'll start talking, and then all of a sudden she's gonna, and she'll be dead to the world mid sentence, and she's just out.
Or like last night, I took like a little power nap while you were on the phone while I was watching TV, and then I was up like till 2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning the last 2 nights. My God, I'm dying. Okay, so here's the deal. I just want to update you guys on this. So there's a state, and then also, but the federal one is the one you want to go look at. So it's the emergency plan. So this one is on EMP. I want y'all to go look at it. Everybody that's in here. And so for the people that are homesteading, canning, prepping, doing all of that, they are starting to take note of who everybody is. And they are making a list, and they are checking it twice. The federal emergency plan during an EMP, you guys go look this up, and you can see it. It's in there. Their plan for all of the people that haven't been preparing and all of that. This is what made me think of it, was that canning question, the cache question for the military. Their plan is they're coming for your goods. They know you've been canning. They know that you have food storage, and you are their plan. And it is in writing. So, I say, come and take it, see what happens.
Yeah, this sounds like a scenario question.
Yes, I better sharpen my machetes.
It's real life. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lucy, I was going to say, if that's the EMP plan here, you can guarantee it is in Canada.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, but here in the States anyway, it's all on record, so you can go look at it as what is it? Thor? I can't remember. Thor plan, something like that. But we were going over risk assessment and doing all of that. But this was something different. This was something that Tag and another friend of ours went in and read because they were just curious after looking at some of the other stuff. And yeah, this is an actual plan. And so go in, read for yourself, do your own research. Anybody who is on here that is, I'm going to have to rethink some things, but I think Garen and I figured it out. We will not stop sharing, and we will not stop the video showing everybody how to can different recipes, the freeze drying, all of that, how to store it and all that. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going
Nope.
because what we say is that is the hill we are willing to die on. So you guys make your choice and figure it out. But
I had a question for you. In the States, do you guys have digital ID?
no, but they want it. It's coming.
I
And
know Canada, they're really pushing for it.
Yeah, I would almost say that actually they may already have, and that is through apps, memberships, subscriptions, and that kind of thing. But what they have to do is they have to get the next generation, the generation after that, they have to get them comfortable with being followed and all of that. And as soon as they know that, we'll get digital ID. So they just got to get them comfortable. However, we bought 4 more years for a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that, how long we actually have. They're fighting hard to
At
keep
least
that from
2.
happening.
And
I don't
also,
know.
I mean,
Like
we
I
all,
said before, there's a difference between winning an election and an inauguration.
That's right.
So be careful.
and we all of us homesteaders, preppers, all that, we already probably are on some sort of list.
Girl,
anyway.
I'm on so many lists, it's not even funny. And
Yeah.
Garen, my son is on a list, and he wasn't even an adult. He wanted to go and see what dad was doing. I think he was maybe 12 at the time, if even that. And so he went out and marched in front of Claire McCaskill's office, and it was for the Tea Party. And they were taking pictures of our son. It was unbelievable. And now with facial recognition and all of that, they had it then too, but the facial recognition and all of that, I know they've got him, but you know, he also looks like a kid. So I don't know if he does. I know he doesn't look the same now as he did then, but I guess that doesn't matter. I think those things still work.
Yeah, your eye measurement, nose to eye, all those little points.
Sure. Yeah. So yes, that's the type of parents we are. We didn't take our children to gay rights parades. No, we took our children to rallies and showed them how to fight back politically, peacefully. And we're just terrible parents that way, I guess. I don't know.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah. Northern Girl says, bring in the list. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I just thought I would share that little note. You all take with it what you want. Definitely go research it for yourself and see what changes or anything like that you need to do. But the goal is to just keep everybody aware so that you can keep your heads on a swivel and do all that. But
I'm gonna have to get my I'm gonna have to go and get my new crossbows. We don't need permits or anything for a crossbow, so guess I'm gonna have to get myself a few.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get that going. Rabbit's on the no-fly list. I'm not even going to ask why. I'm pretty sure it's probably for the same reason that G and I are probably getting ready to go on that list. At one of the meetings that we had, we literally on the road of where we were going to go meet, we passed KBI and Sheriff's Department was backing up KBI. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And they had people pulled out of the truck and guns. I thought they were going to get arrested. We don't know who it is, and I haven't heard. So I don't think it's anybody with us. I think they just kind of like score this person who we want is coming through. But I find it interesting because you never see him on that road. The Sheriff's Department, you do. And that's why I expected the sheriff to be in front of KBI. I didn't expect it to be the other way around. That was weird to me. And it just raises some red flags to me. But anyway. All right. Well, you're getting ready to die.
It's
I
just
died
for
long
the
ago.
second wind. What I'm dying
Hey,
is the
I've gone a
door.
whole week without the stomach issue thing.
Awesome.
I'm eating more meat than anything. And
Uh, that's the secret
I'm getting a book
carnivore.
to mark down everything I eat each
Yeah.
day and then see what triggers anything, because if I can continue on like I am now, I'm good. But if it triggers again, it's almost like I've got Crohn's disease.
Yeah, Tamara says you're lightweight. Tamara said you're lightweight, and you do not deserve the honor of being in front of this camera.
She did not. Amber knows better than that shit.
Hey, I'm down 30 pounds.
Oh yeah, but that's not a good way to do that.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. GI
No,
issues
I know.
I know about. They suck.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. But at least I got down below a weight that every time I went in for doctor's appointments for about 15 years, every time I got on them old scales, it was always the same weight and I couldn't break it and I couldn't break it and I broke it. So I'm happy with that. And if I lose 1 pound every 2-3 weeks, I'm happy with that too. It's a start.
Stay on the carnivore, stay with the meat, and then slowly, wait a while. I mean, a good while. And then try to start introducing things one at a time, and you'll figure out what it is that is messing you up.
I can eat rice. It doesn't trigger. I can eat potatoes. But see, if I eat, it has to be little tiny portions, not large portions. Has to be small portions. And as long as I eat 4 or 5 times a day, almost like a little kid, I'm fine. But if I go to indulge, I'm done.
That's really how all of us should be eating anyway. And so she hollers at me all the time, you don't eat enough, you don't eat enough. And everybody around me is like, you don't eat enough. And I'm like, you're not supposed to sit down and eat a pound of food at a time. A serving.
No, you're not.
A serving.
Your body.
And this is why we have the obesity problem that we have in America.
No, but I get
That's
it.
right.
But I'm usually eating meat, so.
I love my meat. Did I say that out loud?
I can't have that sugar. Things Lucy cannot say. And
we're in trouble now. She said she's
there's this thing.
I love my meat.
There's a thing that goes around in our group, and so it just made me think of that, but it's so not appropriate. But so if we kill a deer or a lamb or whatever, and then we share it or we sell it, and somebody goes, oh my gosh, I had that roast, it was so wonderful. And then G will say, or somebody else will say, well, how did it taste? How was it having my meat in your mouth?
Oh, shit.
Hey, he's as bad as when I used to clean and repair bunker gear for fire departments.
Yeah.
My daughter and I, and it was hilarious because if I meet them on the street, men or women, I'd look at them and say, oh, I've been in your pants. And the wife would look and say, what? And I turn around and I say, oh, no, only kidding. I just clean and repair their bunker gear for the fire department. It was funny. It was hilarious. Actually, I got interviewed from a company. Hey, I got interviewed.
See, you don't see her.
This is why
I got interviewed and videoed when I was working for the company. Have you ever heard of Cintas from Cincinnati?
No.
They do. No, it's called Cintas. They do carpets and stuff in buildings. They pull out the carpet, put new carpets in. It's a big corporation over in Cincinnati. And they came into Canada because they wanted to join with our company in getting the big, say, Mississauga Fire Department. Like that's for Toronto. Great big, huge fire airports and all that, because we used to do the bunker gears for all that. And they had to come and they did a complete day video on how I did all the processing of the gear and everything, and it was all done by hand.
Yeah.
And they couldn't believe it, but they had the videotape, and then they sent it back. They ended up not getting the contract because they were going to hire us, but somebody else overbidded them and got the contract. But if they would have got the contract, I would have had to go to Cincinnati and train and teach people how I did the cleaning, because I used to have to clean bunker gear where the one set I did, they had to put it in biohazard bags because the stupid firemen decided they found a dead body and they decided to hit it with a stick and it exploded all over them.
Oh.
And Yeah.
Oh, nasty.
They had to put him in a tent.
Oh,
He had to strip
Ashley, I
down.
told you to title this Things Terminator Cannot Say.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Nasty.
Yeah, but I got it got sent to me, and I had to make a special solution. I had to put on special gear and everything, masks and everything, because I had to open the package underwater, and
Oh.
it had to salute for 72 hours. Then I had to clean it by hand.
Wow.
Dang.
Oh, I could tell you about all the experiences
No,
of doing different things, but I won't. I won't.
No, yeah,
I got the
no.
stomach. You guys don't.
Sure,
I'm the tough
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I'm a nurse. Believe me, we talk about some of the grossest stuff you'll ever think of.
I'm a dog groomer. We talk about gross stuff too.
We all talk about shit, don't we?
Yes, we do.
It's just different. It's just different shit. It's like,
Right.
Because dogs, they have these little things around their butt called anal
glands.
glands.
Those are nasty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dolly got so scared barking at a picture. Garen hung a new picture, and Dolly got so scared she's barking at it and released her glands.
And there's
And
like,
everybody
You
was
get
like,
sprayed in the head or the hair, and then you got to wash your hair in the sink with the dog because you got glands all over you.
Did you ever hear the story? So we had this one dog, and oh my god, she was a nervous Nelly about driving. But we had a camper down at Lake of the Ozarks. We had the trailer down there, and so we would go about every other weekend is what we planned, and we would go down there. And so we would put the dog in the car, and we were trying to figure out, oh, what is that smell? And it smelled like catfish in the car, and we're trying to figure out what this catfish smell is. And I'm like, whatever you do, don't speed. The cops are not going to understand it. So we're rolling down the windows, trying to figure out anybody that goes to Lake of the Ozarks, especially back then, it was nothing to have a beer in the console. Not the person that was driving. Missouri does not have an open container law. So everybody else in the vehicle was drinking, and you go down there. So it's like whatever you do, don't get pulled over because nobody is going to understand this. So finally, it got so bad after a couple months. I'm like, surely this is going to go away because we couldn't figure out why it just started. And so when I took her to the vet, I was like, look, I got to ask you this. Something is going on. Oh, what did we take? Maybe I took her to the groomer. I don't know. I was like, something is going on. And I said, we get, and it was always the same place right before Sedalia. And right before Sedalia, we get there. It's between Warrensburg and Sedalia. And right before we would get there, this would happen. And that was the worst place because that's where the cops then all start coming in. And so I was like, what do we do? What is this? And she goes, well, she's stressed out, so she's releasing her anal glands. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, okay, so what is that? And she starts telling me it's this oily substance. And she's just talking to me with a straight face and trying to let me know everything. And I was like, oh my God, all of that is all over my back seat. It is all over the back seat of my vehicle. And the poor kids, the kids would have to sit in the back seat with her. And I said, well, what do we do? And she's like, give her Benadryl. Give her some Benadryl, and then that'll relax her, and you'll get her there. So, yes, we literally did have a Benadryl junkie dog that was the only way we could get her so we could go to Lake of the Ozarks.
Did I ever tell you the story about me picking up the two calves and having them in my back seat of my little car?
Yes.
With my granddaughter when the cow released and pooped?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I could handle that. So I'm telling you right now, I could handle that way better than
terrible.
Anal glands.
They smell bad.
I mean, I'm talking rotten catfish. Like, have you ever gone? So when a pond's water gets lower and algae gets in there and that kind of thing, that fish smell after really hot days.
Oh,
and
just rotten. If I go outside and open a jug right now, I have I got a 4-liter vinegar jug.
Sure.
And an empty one. And what I did was all the fish that my grandson caught me throughout the summer that I put in my freezer, I took all the insides and that and some of the heads and that, and I threw it in that container till it was totally full, and it's been sitting for 6 months. That's my fish immersion. So that's what it would smell like.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could even I can handle my fish immersion more than I can. Yeah, no, because I use that in the greenhouse. But I got a bottle. You want to smell it?
No.
It's better than anal glands.
I don't know.
I'd
be able to tell you.
We can get Dolly to go bark. I'll turn the light on. Dolly can bark and release her anal gland. You can sit behind her and get some of that smell. And then when that goes away,
that might knock her right out. She'll fall on the porch.
You know it. You know when the dogs start scooting, it's time that they need to be expressed.
Yeah.
I had one of my friends used to volunteer for that because she was a vet tech. I know. I thought, girl, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, no. Yes. Okay. So Hogs 14, there are no stupid questions in here. Okay. So Ash, here's a question for you. What's the gland actually for? Why do they have those? Do you know?
I don't know why, but I know they do it. They release them either when they're stressed, scared, or my dog, she actually likes them when she's relaxed.
Yeah, I know this answer. I totally forgot about it. I do know this answer. The answer is because out in the wild, these glands actually protect them. So if a predator is after them, if something bad is happening, they can express that anal gland and the predator will go away.
Kind of like a skunk.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
yes,
I was just going to say that, just like a skunk.
Yeah,
I was taught how to express them, not why. Why are they there?
Yeah, you want to know why they are there. But that's why it's protection in the wild.
That's for nosy people and nosy animals. That's why they're there.
So rabbits, right? And totally, this makes sense too. Why do you think dogs sniff each other's butt?
Right.
And that's because they're trying to figure out who's the alpha and what's going on. They want to make sure and see.
Also, certain glands smell certainly, and also not all glands are liquidy and can express easy. Some come out like toothpaste.
Oh, that's even worse.
Or different colors.
Yeah. Yeah. Blue Butterfly was like, had no idea. So yeah, I totally Northern Girl, glands are in the heels of the deer also for the females. Yeah, I knew that. But dang, I don't know. That's why when you see it's always funny. You got to experience that. So you were totally going, why don't you just go to bed?
Oh no, I had to stop drinking.
Oh, okay. All right. And so anyway,
she's having too much fun sitting back laughing.
Yeah. So
I am.
So Saturday night there was a bunch of deer because I tried, like, G doesn't always catch it, and I'm like, oh wait, deer, because I can see that up ahead of us if I'm not driving, and like a lot of them. And then so he kind of slowed down a little bit, and I rolled down the window so I could see what was going on. Man, there was a buck trying to get on, and he was like, he didn't care which female he got, he was chasing them all. And so he was getting those girls. But so yeah. Which hammer? I don't even. Do I want to go?
Oh,
okay. Yeah. She's talking about that.
That's true, Blue.
Yeah. So
I can't see.
Yeah, I'm not putting WD-40 on my joints. I'll save that for the vehicle and for everything else.
Oh, hey, Tambra, was that DMSO that you were putting on your foot when I was there before I gave you that comfrey?
We don't need to be silent because she has to type it in. It's not going to be immediate.
I'm waiting for her.
She's behind in the video, so she won't even see that for a little bit. Yeah. You may not even see it. We're going to probably.
I don't know. She had already had 2 rum drinks way back there, so I don't know.
Putting other stuff on, like the WD-40 on other joints. It reminds me of that movie, My Big Fried Greek Wedding, where the lady's dad.
Windex. Let me give you some Windex. Windex will fix that. No, so I chase everybody around here, and I'm like, everybody gets irritated because I'm like, here's some comfrey. I don't want to hear you complain. I don't want you to be in pain. I feel
No.
really bad. You've got a blemish. Now I'm like on the DMSO kick because, if you have acne, DMSO is really good for that. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. And so I'm like, so now I'm probably going to be chasing people around with DMSO. I don't know. We'll see. So.
It's funny. I was at a friend of mine a few years back. I went to her wedding. She invited me to her wedding, and actually, the house that she had her wedding at, that her and her fiance bought, was the very first house my father built, and she didn't know that. And I was telling her stories about the house, and she couldn't believe it because everything I was saying and the way it was built and everything. She's saying, how do you know that? And how do you know that? Well, that's the way it is. And she says, how do you know that though? And I said, because my father built it. Because the real estate lied to her and said it was only 12 years old, the house, but the house was built in 1965. And this was up in 2000 and some. Anyways, when we were at her wedding, she's a Newfie from Newfoundland. And she had her whole family fly in from Newfoundland. And there was this elderly couple. And they're all up there dancing and everything. I'm just walking around getting to know everybody and everything. And the lady was up there and trying to get her husband to dance, and he wouldn't dance. So I turned around and says, I'll tell you a way to get him to dance. You'll get him on the dance floor anyways. And she says, what's that? I said, well, do you mind if I touch his head? And she says, no, go ahead. So, because he was bald, right? And I started rubbing the top of his head. And I looked at her and I said, you know what that is? You know what we call that here in Ontario? She says, what's that? I said, that's a solar panel for a sex machine. Well, she went over and she started rubbing it. He wouldn't let her rub his head, and she chased him all over. And he ended up dancing with her because he didn't want her to rub her head, his head. It was so hilarious.
Garen is over mixing a drink, laughing his ass off right now.
What were we suggesting Monday night?
I already got on to Little Miss Prepper about that because I told her that she forgot to label this video things Lucy could not say. This is actually much smoother than other things she's already said. Yes. No, we've had exploding bodies. We've had it's been weird. Not exploding, popping. They popped.
That's right. And it went everywhere.
I'm only telling the truth. If they don't like the truth, the heck with them all.
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
You know what else? You know what else she said, Grumpy? He'd like that. She was proud and admitted she loves her mate. He just put peanut butter in his mouth and he started smiling and he just put his head down and just shook his head.
All I can think about is Bill in the back.
That's what I told her that story. He started laughing. He said, "No, all I can think about is how do you like my meat in your mouth?" I told you we're strange people around here. Goodness.
It's going in April will be 47 years I've been married, and 48 years we've been together. So
congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations. I'm not sure mine's going to last that long. So
just run around and rub his head.
Oh man.
You'll get him laughing. Look at it. Here he comes again.
Nowadays, that's a huge accomplishment, girl.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, you don't hear about them very much anymore. So
no,
but so that's exciting. We're coming up on another anniversary here in a couple months. So February 1st will be 33. I can't remember, somewhere in there.
What year were you married in?
93, 30, 31, 32, somewhere in there.
Well, no, it'll be 25, so that'll be
93, 2003.
Baby,
so 31 years. 31 years.
We've been together. I was fresh 18 years old. So we've been together, let's see, 12, 22, 32, 34, 35 years. So
oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. the war got in the way. We'd be married 35 years if or whatever. Yeah, is that right? So
Yep.
90, what would 9? Yeah, no, close, somewhere in there. But we'd be married sooner if the Gulf War wasn't going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, my
So,
husband would just let me know. He's laying down now. Let me know earlier. He says 2 weeks. I said, yeah. So what about 2 weeks? He's got a
I
twin
need to
sister.
run to town.
No, he's got a twin sister, and we always take him and his twin sister over at my daughter's, and she does a birthday cake for them because they
Oh,
grew up. They grew up and they've never had a birthday before.
Oh,
And we've celebrated their birthday together and a birthday cake for the first time. She handed him, that was about 20 years ago when
yeah.
she handed him a puppy. There was this little puppy out of her litter of small little dogs, and it kept following him every time we went over and visit. And so she had a big bow on her head, and we named her Shy, and we had her for 14 years, but that was his dog. And that was the first time they ever celebrated their birthday together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll be
All
73. They'll be 73 in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well,
that
you
dog.
make sure give him a hug and tell him happy birthday for me, and then because I will have slept by then, and I know I will forget. And
You know what's so funny is you got your package already,
yeah,
and our mail went on strike on Friday.
yeah, you sent it out before the mail went out on strike. You sent me a text message and said you got it in the post. I think you did that on Tuesday.
Yes, I did. Because they did it a different way for me, so it would go through faster.
Sure. But guys, it is 9:09, and now Yoda is getting tired. So
it's 10 here. So
this one's getting ready to follow. Well, I know. I can't believe you're still going strong.
And I've been up and outside.
Keep me on here until midnight.
Daylight.
Well, hell, between you and Scan, why don't you and Scans just text back and forth, give her 15-minute cat nap, and then she'll be back up. She'll stay up till 2:30 in the morning with you. I guarantee it. I know this from experience.
I'm gonna go to bed tonight early because I gotta fix my trailer lights, and I had a messed up spot on my tailgate, and back in doing the zigzag backup method, it went underneath that spot and hung. So I got to fix that in the morning, and I got a few other things to do. So I need to get up early for.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be raining tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
sometimes she just, I have to remind her to keep it short. So
mine for All American is like, wrap it up.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's less rude than, so I'll try that one. Would that
anyway.
Yeah. You just do that now.
You guys all have a good night. I think we'll go live a life done free.
Do what?
Go live a life done free. Keep your head on a swivel. Good night, all.
Yeah, tomorrow will be at least 1% better than you were today. And, stay safe, guys.
Bye, Bobsy twins.
Yeah.
Bye, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.